We've got some great audience questions I want to answer this week. First one is from Joe. Joe says, hey, David, is the political climate for gun control actually changing, or is it more of the same non-action that we should be expecting? Yeah, so this is related to the Parkland, Florida shooting that took place, and there's no question that we've seen louder activism. And by louder, I don't mean people yelling. I just mean like more noticeable activism around gun safety regulations, including from a lot of younger people in the Parkland, Florida area. I do not have an optimistic view on this. I believe that if we couldn't pass just background checks after Sandy Hook with 85 or 90% support from the American public, if absolutely nothing changed after that horrible Mandalay Bay shooting in Las Vegas about 6 months ago, I have a really hard time believing we're going to see actual change with a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a putatively Republican, but mostly clueless above all else, president in the Oval Office. I just don't think we're going to see it. And we've already seen the NRA start to work. I don't want to say work its magic, but do exactly what we know it does and is expected to do, to say, hey, we all care about safety, but this idea you had is not a good idea, and that idea they had is not a good idea. We've already seen Trump back off of the idea, several ideas that he has had, including a 21-year-old minimum age requirement for all gun purchases. Trump already seems to be backing off of that. So I am inspired that this got more people activated, but I'm pretty skeptical that we're going to really see any changes. I don't know if you disagree with me.
Maybe there'll be a ban on bump stocks because the NRA doesn't really profit, I don't think, too much off of those because it's a modification, right?
Yes.
It's an accessory. And there's also, I think, good constitutional standing because you're not infringing on people's rights to bear arms.
That's
exactly.
Right.
It just modifies the weapon.
Listen, it's all gray area, right? Once you say you shouldn't have shoulder-mounted RPGs,
sure.
Can you really say that you also are able to, you can't limit AR-15s, but you can limit bump stocks, but you can't have armor-piercing ammunition, but regular in the same gun is okay? It's all great. Once you say that there's any limitation, it's just a debate and it's a total gray area.
Everyone's drawing a line somewhere.
Now, do you think that maybe just on the background checks we might see progress? Like, are we getting closer to just being able to maybe do that? I wish I could say I was confident that there would be changes, but I just don't see it. I really don't.
Probably not, because right-wingers have a pretty strong due process argument, I think.
Yeah.
And I know that Trump was talking initially about worrying about due process later, which is really not how due process works.
No, that's the whole point of it, yeah.
That's the whole point of it. But I don't think we're going to see any progress there. If not after Sandy Hook, probably not after Parkland either.
I want to be proven wrong, right? I'm not saying this to upset people who are activating. And in fact, if anything, you should get active around this, because I think that the natural trajectory of it is we just kind of forget about it, and soon there will be another indictment in Russia, and then Trump will have had some other affair, and we'll have deregulation of the banking, and whatever. There'll be important and trivial and all sorts of other issues, and we'll just kind of forget about it until the next mass shooting, which is probably going to be this week, and there won't be much coverage unless it's a big one at a school or something.
Well,
like
I was
that.
pleasantly surprised that the Parkland shooting stayed in the news for a little while,
Yeah,
so we could discuss gun control. I thought it was going to go away in like 2 or 3 days because they're happening so often now, you know?
But hasn't it kind of almost faded away now? I mean, I still saw David Hogg, I think, one of those
the kids
students.
are very active, and I think that's keeping it in the news cycle.
Yeah, but it's starting to fade. It always does.